What's going on, San Diego? Hour one of Jon and Jim on a Thursday. Got a bunch of prizes again today to give away. Of course, we have auto show tickets. We have Seals tickets. We have Holiday Bowl tickets to the KGB Sky Show next Friday here at Snapdragon Stadium. So stay listening for all of that. Great show lined up for you guys today as well. Jack Cronin is going to join us in the 3 o'clock hour to talk about San Diego FC's schedule release today. I didn't realize this, Brent, but Major League Soccer has like the longest schedule I've ever seen. It goes from February all the way to October, and there's a little break in between because of the Leagues Cup, but we'll talk to Jack at 3:30 about the schedule release. Interesting part of that schedule as well that no Messi coming to San Diego. So when it was kind of hinted that San Diego FC was going to be hosting Inter Miami and Messi for their inaugural season, well, that's not going to happen. They're not going to visit him as well, but we'll talk to Jack more about that at 3:30. Also, Chris Hodge is going to join us at 4:30. He's on fire right now as far as making picks go, so if you are looking to win some money before Christmas, you might want to listen at 4:30 to Chris Hodge because he has been on a roll. And then, of course, we have Thursday Night Football at 5:15 right here on San Diego Sports 760 between the Chargers and the Chiefs. But once again, we start with the Padres here, and same old, nothing's happened. That's no surprise at all. Mark Feinsand, very dialed in. He released an article about an hour ago, and it's on what else? Roki Sasaki. Now, it looks like teams are setting up their schedules to meet with Roki. They have already met, I mean, Roki and his representatives with the White Sox, it sounds like, and then they have set up a meeting with the Yankees. So you have that right there, and then now I'm sure in the next couple weeks or so, we'll start hearing more rumblings about what teams he's met with. I think, the Red Sox are going to be heavily involved in Roki Sasaki. I read something last night about the Red Sox pursuit of him. But it's interesting in this article about Roki Sasaki from Mark Feinsand. And it labels here that basically front office execs of teams around baseball that are in on Roki Sasaki. So about 20 to 25 teams pretty much say it's a 2-horse race. They did a secret polling, Brent, of execs around baseball to vote on what team they think Roki Sasaki will go to.
Did they do a secret ballot all on the team's letterheads?
No, I don't think so. But
no one will ever know it was me while it's on Dodger letterhead.
It says right here, MLB Pipeline is currently in the process of polling front office executives for all 30 teams around baseball. Part of the questionnaire, executives were asked who they thought was the favorite to sign Roki Sasaki. And here's how the votes tallied out. Leading the way is the Dodgers. They got 11 of the 30 votes.
Thought they'd get more.
Second is the Padres with 7.
Okay.
The Giants and Rangers each receive a vote.
How many votes did the Pirates get?
It did not say.
Oh.
Now, I'm not great at math, Brent, but I do know that 11 plus 7 plus 2 does not equal 30.
No, it doesn't.
So
we don't need John for that.
Right. It's interesting how it says here in this piece that front office executives of 30 teams were polled, and the vote tallied out to be the Dodgers with 11 votes, the Padres with 7 votes, and the Giants and Rangers with 1 vote each. That equals 20 teams. That does not equal 30. So I'm kind of like a little confused on this.
Maybe they just voted present like they do in like Congress or Senate, or if they don't want to vote, they just show up and vote present, and then they don't actually vote on anything.
Right. They're just like, we're not going to vote on that. I don't remember
which one it is, but
like I refuse to vote on who I think the Roki Sasaki will win. You know, where we'll Where will Roki Sasaki go? I refuse to vote on that. It also says here, the Padres could also be a very good fit for many reasons that Roki Sasaki has said. They're a mid-market. They've also been reported that Sasaki's very close with Yu Darvish, and it's expected that he'll play some role in convincing Sasaki to head to San Diego. Having Hideo Nomo in the organization as a special assistant doesn't hurt either. I mean, these are things that we know. These are the things that are continuously said about the pursuit of Roki Sasaki. And I'm just wondering when they're going to meet. Is it before Christmas or is it after Christmas? I want to know the pecking order. Like, if you were, I don't know, if you were meeting with Roki Sasaki, wouldn't you want to be one of the first teams that's on the list, one of the first teams that he has meetings with? Or would you want to be one of the last teams so you can leave a lasting impression on Roki during your meeting? Being in the middle might be difficult, but if it were me, I would want to be first in line to show him like how interested you are in having him be part of your organization.
Can we print the schedule out on like t-shirts? Like it's an Aerosmith World Tour shirt of Roki Sasaki sweepstakes tour, and then just have San Diego and have the date in LA.
Like
and
yeah. Breaking news. Roki Sasaki has announced he is heading to San Diego to meet with the Padres. Next up, New York.
If they do release like the schedule of who's going to meet him and when, at least we won't have to worry about another stupid instance of, oh, he's on the airplane heading for Canada. And then it's like, tracking the plane like your cell phone battery died and you're on a plane and you have nothing else to watch but that little thing of your plane going across the map of, oh, here comes Shohei's plane. It's going to Canada. Oh, what? He's not even on that plane? Oh, never mind. You just wasted 7 hours.
Raw dog on a flight. Ever heard of that?
Not phrase like that, but yeah, it's like, I've gotten stuck doing that before.
Really?
You've
done that?
What's
the longest flight you've been on? Probably from here to
Wisconsin and back. But I got stuck on a crappy airline where it said that I was supposed to have like all these plugins for my phone, and then I got on the plane and I had no plugins. So I couldn't charge my phone, and my phone was old enough that the battery would die after like 20 minutes if I didn't have it plugged in. So I pretty much had to watch the little thing of, it's like that little 30-second thing from an Indiana Jones movie. I had to watch it for like 6 hours.
That's brutal.
Yes.
The flight that I took from LA to where was it? Switzerland. That was brutal. And I couldn't imagine not having like something on that flight to keep me occupied.
Dude, I was like trying to slyly like look over at the person sitting next to me, like, oh, what are they?
Like, what are you watching? What are you watching?
They're watching like Breaking Bad. I think I was like, oh, okay.
I've seen that where
they try not to get caught, so they just like be like, oh, look at this cheap bastard sitting next to me that can't charge his phone.
And usually on long flights, they have those like TVs where you can like maybe play a game on it or whatnot. I went on a flight one time. This was when I went to Europe, and we were going from Switzerland to Paris, and on the flight they had a camera of outside the plane, so you could watch outside of the plane during the flight. I thought that was pretty cool.
That's cool.
But anyway, Roki Sasaki will be on a flight to San Diego sometime in the near future. We just don't know when. And we don't know exactly the order of how things go. But as I've said before, and I'll continue to say this until proven otherwise, this feels like a 2-horse race. I would be surprised if he goes anywhere else. Like if he chose the Texas Rangers, that would surprise me. If he chose the San Francisco Giants, that would surprise me. If he chose the Red Sox, I would be surprised. Anywhere he chooses, if it's not the Padres or the Dodgers, I would be surprised with that decision. Just because kind of, the saying is where there's smoke, there's fire. There's a lot of smoke with the Padres and the Dodgers with Roki. So why would we think or believe that he would go anywhere else is basically my thought process going into this whole sweepstakes. Whenever, they meet and whenever the decision happens in middle of January, I'll be sitting there waiting for Jeff Passan to report Roki Sasaki has chosen the Dodgers or the Padres. Any other team in that equation, to me, feels like a long shot. It just does. I don't think Roki has made up his mind. I don't think there's this secret handshake. Now, it would be interesting if he chose the Dodgers. Then, of course, we're going to roll with this was it was a coup. It was a coup. This was already pre-planned. Why were you wasting everybody's time if you already chose the Dodgers? Everybody kind of felt like that. And if it does happen, then it's going to be kind of suspicious because of things that were reported, even though his agent has shot those down, under the table handshake agreement, and he's already chosen the Dodgers and this and that. But anywhere else, yeah, it just feels like it would be a complete shock if he did not choose the Padres or the Dodgers.
Okay, so the Roki World Tour, let's say the 5 cities on the tour, he's gonna go visit all 5 of them guaranteed.
Okay.
Do you want to be the first team he meets with or the last?
Oh, yeah. I know I said first just because I want to be first in line and show him how interested I am in him. I can't wait anymore. I need to talk to you type of thing. But the saying goes is
you want to be the last one to talk because you can
lasting
impression. Right their ass.
Yeah, you want a lasting impression left on Roki Sasaki. So I would, first or last, that's fine. But being in the middle would be a little tough. If you're the third team and then he has 2 more visits after that, you don't want to, once you get them in the door, you don't want to let them out. So I would like to be first, but I can understand, from a Padres perspective, how they might want to be last. And especially if you are first, say you're first and the Dodgers are last, I wouldn't like that. The Dodgers are first and you're last. Okay. Because you have the last meeting with him and you're the last say and maybe he has questions that he thought of during the whole process that he didn't ask the Dodgers about and maybe there's things the Padres can show him that are better than the other teams out there. But I don't know, man. I would like to be first. But still, I would assume if you ask them all right, when do you want to meet him? Do you want to be the last team to meet him or do you want to be the first team to meet him? Probably last. But another thing too, if you do say you want to meet him last, what if all of a sudden during this process, Roki decides, you know what, I made my decision. I don't want to meet with any other teams.
Yeah, but I said in the scenario, he's guaranteed that he's going to meet with all of them.
Okay, guaranteed. Then I think I might want to go last, even though
if there's no verbal agreement that I'm going to talk to all the teams before I make a decision, then I'd want to go first because make a good enough offer that he doesn't go even meet with other teams.
Because this is a full-on 100% recruiting trip that Roki will embark on very, very soon, and hopefully the Padres have enough resources in their bag to make Roki say that he wants to join the San Diego Padres. All right, coming up later this hour, Jeff Passan with the latest Padres rumors. We'll get into that. Also, college football is wild. An interesting story that's happening with the Holiday Bowl, nonetheless, and Washington State and their head coach. Sammy Sosa, for some reason, is talking today and apologizing and releasing statements. We'll get into that as well. But coming up next, an infield of Manny, Bogarts, Cronenworth, and Nolan Arenado. We'll talk about that coming up next. All right, back here on Jon and Jim. I'll get to the liners in a bit. But Kurt Kenny just tweeted this out at the top of the hour. And I feel like if Jon was here, he would want to just e-break the entire show and stop everything to talk about this. He says, as reported, Central Michigan quarterback Bert Emanuel Jr. heads group of dozen transfer recruits visiting San Diego State this weekend. San Diego State football is also entertaining 3 wide receivers, including Noah Robinson, a 6'3" senior from Robert Morris, who had 126 catches and 1,640 yards, 11 touchdowns over the past 2 seasons. He also writes, San Diego State is still looking for transfers on both sides of the line. One notable visiting this weekend is Richmond O lineman Parker Mitchell, who started 12 games at right tackle for the Spiders. The Aztecs are also hosting Mountain West D-line transfers. I can't even say his name. And Malachi Fuanu from Hawaii. So why Jon would stop the show for everything is because Bert Emanuel Jr. I mean, he no joke, Brent, texted me and Darnay the other night about Bert Emanuel Jr. I'm like, bro, chill the F out about Bert Emanuel Jr. He loves this guy. He loves him.
Yeah, he's good.
I still, like, even Darnay's like, oh, yeah, that name sounds familiar. Yeah, that sounds right. I mean, am I living under a rock that I've never heard of Bert Emanuel in my entire life, his dad?
Kind of.
Am I supposed to know who Bert Emanuel is? Was he's like a Hall of Fame player?
Not just because of your age group, but
even because of my age group. I'm 35 years old. Bert Emanuel played when? In the 80s?
In the 80s.
Okay. I still know players from the 80s. But
you didn't know him?
I didn't know Bert Emanuel. I'm an idiot, I guess.
No, I always remember him from like Tecmo Bowl. And
I played Tecmo Bowl all the time. And I never played with Bert Emanuel.
Because he didn't take the Broncos, apparently. All right, I think he was with the Falcons for Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah, I cheated. I took the Raiders with...
Oh, see, there you go.
I took the Raiders. They were the best team.
Bo was the best team.
And that's exactly why. Bo Jackson, he was the best player in the game. He was unstoppable. He was the Superman of Tecmo Bowl. By the way, we'll talk about the Superman trailer coming up in the show. Because Jon's not here, we can talk about all the nerd stuff that we want and actually have like a conversation about it without the other person in the room.
We've been joking about them regretting giving us 4 hours.
Exactly.
Today's going to be the day.
Yeah, I mean, we only have 3 hours today, but...
Oh, that's true. They lucked out.
They lucked out because a good chunk of today's show will be spent on the new Superman trailer, and you'll actually have the host on the show not be checked out like Jon. Whenever me and Brent try to talk about superhero movies, it immediately
or any movies,
it immediately goes to Jon saying, "Okay, cool." So, and then going right into another sports topic. But anyway, Superman later in the show. Okay, Nolan Arenado the other day was about to be traded to the Houston Astros. Now, he does have a full no trade clause. So he exercised that and he decided, I don't want to get traded to the Astros. Today on MLB Network, they were talking about a possible destination for Nolan Arenado. And I'm like, please don't say the Padres. Please don't say the Padres. Well, yeah, they said the Padres.
I think that that comment, I would be willing to move to first base, was pertaining to one team and one team only, the Padres. Manny Machado's a third baseman. He's the guy that's been, the face of the franchise for a while. I think he'd be willing to go to first base to join the San Diego Padres. He's a California guy. Team is ready to win right now. I think that was the only team that was the exception for him.
No. Like I said yesterday, the movie Mean Girls, stop trying to make fetch a thing. Stop trying to make the NBA Cup a thing. Don't even attempt to make Nolan Arenado a thing. That's like the last player I would want the Padres to go out and get to help them next year. An aging veteran moving to a brand new position that they've never played before, who is way past their prime and costs money? Nah.
If you want that, I might as well just go get Goldschmidt.
Even Goldschmidt, I'm like, nah.
Well, I know. I'm just saying they're both pretty much would be the same thing. And over the hill, aging.
Mm-hmm.
At least Goldschmidt isn't an actual first baseman, but still.
Yeah, if you told me right now, you got to pick between Goldschmidt and Arenado in your lineup, or at least like, who would you take? I mean, I wouldn't want
Whoever's
either one of
cheaper.
them. Yeah, whoever's cheaper, obviously, and probably Goldschmidt because you don't have to trade for him. You trade for Nolan Arenado, you're going to have to give up something to get Nolan Arenado, and then you have to work with the Cardinals about the contract and the money, and it's not going to happen. I think Nolan Arenado would love it to happen. Like they mentioned there, like dude is from California. He would love to play for the Dodgers or the Padres, both contending teams, but it's just no, because I see this too many times in sports. You bring in a guy that's an aging vet. On paper, it's nice. And like, oh, you get the like, who's stopping this team? Everybody. Nolan Arenado is not the answer that the Padres are looking for this offseason. If anything, he would become another problem on this Padres roster.
Well, I think it'd be just like his former teammate Pujols when he went to the Angels.
But the thing with Pujols is like you had the double whammy of he wasn't good, he was past his prime, and he also cost you a boatload of money. Nolan Arenado would cost you some money, but he wouldn't cost you the same amount of money as our Pujols did.
No, but they're both past their prime, and if you're trading for them, for the most part, you're trading for his name recognition to, try and sell tickets like they did with Pujols.
I like in the chat on YouTube today. By the way, go subscribe to our YouTube channel, Jon and Jim 760. Go subscribe. You can watch us every day live. Make sure to hit that like button. Brent is like the what is the character in Home Improvement that you never see their face?
Oh, the neighbor guy.
Yeah. I'm drawing a blank.
Was it Wilson or was
Wilson? Yeah.
Was it Wilson or was it Wilson? Yeah, it was Wilson.
It was Wilson, right? I love that show, and I should remember this.
It's either Wilson or what was the name of the dude that wore the flannel? His co-host.
Dude, why am I blanking? Tim and
that was Al Borland?
Al Borland.
So yeah, Wilson was the neighbor then.
Wilson. Brent's like the Wilson of our show. You only hear him and you never see him. But on our YouTube chat, Leah says the good news about the Padres Arenado rumor is that that they're not assuming the Padres are broke. So, okay, but here's the thing. They're not broke, the Padres. They just don't want to exceed the CBT again to become potential offenders and have to pay a tax, and they just don't want to do that. They're not broke, but they don't want to exceed the CBT. And bringing in Nolan Arenado would create probably a large chunk of the money that they have allotted to spend this offseason on players that can help this team. It would take probably a good amount of that up. Now, I don't know how they would work the contract. If the Cardinals said, hey, we'll pay all of Arenado's deal, okay. But even then, having a aging player past his prime at a new position, yeah, I don't know about that one. I'm not in on the Nolan Arenado idea at all. Coming up next, Jeff Passan has some Padres rumors that we're going to get to. Also this hour, college football is completely broken. We'll talk about that. And Sammy Sosa. Why is Sammy Sosa in the news today? All that coming up next right here on Jon and Jim. All right, this update is brought to you by Lexus Carlsbad. Experience auto enjoyment. Thursday night football tonight. We have the Chargers taking on the Broncos in LA. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760 starting at 5:15. And San Diego FC today announced their inaugural schedule for the 2025 season. They open up play against the LA Galaxy on Sunday, February 23rd at 4 p.m. It's the first match of their season. Of course, March 1st will be the first home match here at Snapdragon Stadium at 7:30 against St. Louis. Now through December 29th, get big savings at Lexus Carlsbad during the December to Remember sales event. On select new Lexus models, get 2.4 APR financing, limited terms on approved premium credit only. Details at lexuscarlsbad.com or visit Lexus Carlsbad today. All right, back here on Jon and Jim. And however you listen to us, you should be listening to us on the iHeartRadio app. You should be also following us and watching us on YouTube. You should be, if you're in your car, listening to us on the car radio. But if you're listening to us on the iHeartRadio app, very special things are happening with the iHeartRadio app. It's new. The new iHeartRadio app just went through a brand new relaunch of it. My phone has updated it to the brand new features with presets, and you can scan. They have the top charts there available for you on the front page. Everything that the iHeartRadio app was just got a lot better, and it already was the best audio app around. So the best audio app around getting even better. Yeah, sign me up. Download the iHeartRadio app if you haven't already. And if you do have the iHeartRadio app, thank you. Make sure you're following San Diego Sports 760 and you're listening to us there.
Throw us in your presets.
But right now, update the app. The app should be, the new features should be out. And if they're not out, keep an eye out for it. And put us in your presets, and there you go. You have the new iHeartRadio app in your presets, San Diego Sports 760. Also, make sure that you follow Jon and Jim podcasts as well. They have everything for you, so make sure you download the new iHeartRadio app today. So Jeff Passan released an article this morning, Brent, and it was along the lines of, well, the winter meetings, or not the winter meetings, but the hot stove has gotten cold. He says that top free agents like Alex Bregman and Corbin Burns are unlikely to sign anywhere before Christmas next week. If anything, look to the first of the year and the start of January to see any news on the top free agents of Corbin Burns and Alex Bregman. Could be wrong, but Jeff Passan's pretty nails when it comes to this stuff. So that means we're going to have to wait at least, 2, maybe 3 more weeks before any big-time news happens in baseball. But he did mention the Padres in his article today. And he mentions that the Padres are, one, going to have to get very creative, obviously, and that they could move infielders Jake Cronenworth or Luis Arraez. Okay, easier said than done. I think Luis Arraez would be easier to move than Jake Cronenworth. That's just my opinion, because Jake has money attached to him, and he's a declining player in his 30s, and Luis Arraez is a guy that has won multiple batting titles and can bring value to a team, even though his on-base percentage isn't that great, but he falls out of bed hitting 300 plus. I mean, not many players in baseball can even sniff hitting 300 for a full season with how many at-bats Luis Arraez has in a year. I think that it would be great if they got rid of Jake Cronenworth, not because I don't like Jake, but I think that Jake is a player that doesn't really bring much value to your team. I think he's a great clubhouse guy. Everyone loves the Crone Zone, right? But you can do better than that. Like you can get a player as equally as good as Jake Cronenworth without having to pay them the Jake Cronenworth contract. It's not an egregious contract by any measure. It's not a Xander Bogaerts contract. It's not $280 million. It's $77 million. Averages out to 11 a year. Not the worst thing in the world, but you're going to need more from Jake, especially if they are going to start the season once again having him hit third in your lineup. Like if Jake hit 6th or 7th in your lineup all year long, okay. But instead, you had Jackson Merrill hitting 6th and 7th in your lineup, and Jackson Merrill was a stud. And Jake Cronenworth, if you put in the middle of that order again, I don't like it. And there are more important things that you need on this roster besides having Jake Cronenworth on it. You got rid of Jake Cronenworth, you free up some money, then you can bring back probably Jerickson Profar. You can make a signing. You can bring in a pitcher. Like it's a bad contract, and it's not an egregious contract that's like, anchoring this team down from making moves. But at the same time, it kind of is a little bit because of all of the other contracts you have on this roster that's hurting you. Tanner Bogaerts. So if I were to pick one player for them to try to offload, I think Jake Cronenworth should be the guy. Definitely easier said than done, though. Luis Ariz is probably the easiest one to do. And I just think that this offseason, the creativity that AJ Preller is going to have, it's so creative that I can't even think of like moves that they can make that like, oh, that makes sense.
You get more for Ariz, right?
You get more for
value.
You get more for Luis Ariz. Now, the thing with Luis Ariz is, 1-year deal. That's it. You'd only have him for a year, and then he becomes a free agent. Jake Cronenworth you'd have for long term, but he's also in his 30s, and he's not showing any sign of like getting better. It's only getting worse. Now, he has stretches and moments where he is really good. But last year, he was abysmal against lefties, yet they continued to hit him third in that lineup. He should have been a platoon guy. If they make Jake Cronenworth a platoon guy, I'm on board with that. But you don't have anybody else that you can platoon him with. You're not platooning him with Luis Ariz. He's a guy that hits 300 against everybody. So if you keep Jake, I think the best way to utilize Jake Cronenworth is to have him be a platoon against righties. Unfortunately, they ain't going to do that. They don't have enough people behind Jake in order to make it so he is a platoon. But if they can move Jake, you can get someone better in there for half the price, and it helps you build out the rest of your roster. So the creativity that AJ Preller has to have this offseason has to involve like literally everybody. If I were to say who are the untouchables on this team right now, this offseason, I can only come up with a couple. I think Tatis is an untouchable. Jackson Merrill obviously is an untouchable. Manny Machado is an untouchable. The only reason why Xander's an untouchable is because of his stupid contract. Anybody else you got in mind? Because right now, I would love to say Michael King, but he's a free agent after the year. I'd love to say Dylan Cease. He's a free agent after the end of the year.
Musgrove.
Joe Musgrove, kind of damaged goods. I would if they had an opportunity to offload the Joe Musgrove contract, I would look into it. Love Joe. I love Joe Musgrove. But I'm thinking from the business side of this. I'm thinking from how can you build a roster? And right now you got $20 million next year that is being paid to Joe Musgrove against the CBT and against your actual payroll, and you're getting nothing out of them. That is brutal. So yeah, if I had an opportunity to unload that contract right now, I think I would do it. Love Joe. He is obviously a San Diego sports like icon because of his no-hitter and how much he loves the community and how much he loves San Diego. But look, that contract, sorry, once he signed it, he has not really lived up to that at all yet. Sorry. So the untouchables on this team are like four guys, in my opinion. And the only reason why Xander's an untouchable is because no one's going to want that contract. Nobody. He shouldn't be an untouchable, but it's like a default because you can't trade Xander Bogaerts and that massive, stupid, ridiculous contract that he has. But if I were to say the only guys that I wouldn't even consider trading, it's Manny Tatis and Jackson Merrill. That's really it. I would love to say others, but unfortunately, easier said than done. So we'll talk more about that, and we'll get more into what else Jeff Passan is saying about the Padres and other news around baseball later in the show. But coming up next, man, college football. This story just proves how broken college football is with the transfer portal, and it affects the Holiday Bowl. We'll get into that story coming up next.
The quarterback, you're going to play out your
5.
With your busy schedule,
make it an unforgettable over at Humul.
$21 or older, and
Everybody loves.
Worst.
Is he?
25,000 up. Ass bloating.
To get it out,
I know. It feels like
Feels like it's been
decades.
10 years, dude.
probably.
Wasn't it? But
I'm standing in, and his now
keep the purse.
Sweet Berry Picks is available in
Back
Oh
page.
efficiency.
quote in
To more than Elias Diaz.
yeah. I mean,
thing out. Guys are going to about to have
Science.
right. And Porta.
For both new
55 600
on display in one central location, and experts will be available to guide consumers as they personally consider if the time is right to go electric. I'll tell you what, my wife needs a new car. Car's 100 years old. Auto show tickets are also available now at S.
just
And 10 quote.
Snapdragon Steve.
Will app.
Big Santa and Chris.
That probably wasn't a great idea. I agree with that.
I'm just this.
You're going to play AM76.
Yeah, they have everything you want there. You can win luxury handbag.
Cough.
Gave like a
Proven treatment provider near you.
Excitement. If you play, call the NC questions and get your free
100 code.
For your smartphone 24/7. Messages and data rates may apply. Visit sdccu.com.
Hospital.
Lights.
What's the first game of the doubleheader?
Thanks to all.
day after these as low as $1. Where better picks off cash.
And create for opioid or
Over alignment,
Passing.
So
exceptions.
Okay.
Yeah. So
But Ronnie.
Oh,
Just enjoying some much needed downtime with your favorites.
Clips featuring
Consumer Cellular.
insurance company and affiliate.
760.
for the replay, just by playing with your Sweetwater card, then stick around. It's going to have knee surgery.
Killer Grand Cormino.
Everyone's within 10% of the cap.
Right.
Basically. Saying like heading into
Situations where you have
Me.
like a Daniel Jeremiah podcast, a little under.
apparently. Get ready for the play-in tournament. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, wrapped.
yeah. Had the one game.
Family protect.
Big year.
That's a massive year. I
Yeah.
can't remember the year, but this is an example of
Yards essentially at
didn't deserve Baker Mayfield. And it's
Down.
7.
the game they would lose
seconds left. It's
the game. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart here.
All that speculation. Be back in.
Line.
Celebrate in style at Hamul. They'll kick off.
yeah. Raiders.
But everyone everywhere is in the transfer.
I saw a pic. I'll bet you a lot.
They're
Because that would help.
With better.
Viking.
Pounds and 2.5.
been
Just saying,
higher.
man, if the season ended today, this is like day.
Exciting.
I hear you, and I know
Of income.
The Raiders, that big game.
Love me some Raiders football.
Kind of a must win or lose. Got to play it tonight.
Lasting.
Dylan Cease and better.
In free play.
We're going to do that year one, so no guarantee.
Store experts will help guide.
Season because you go from one season into the portal and
Station. It's time for the
Oh yeah, we'll get into what Sammy Sosa said today. Like what? Really random, but once you research it a little bit more, kind of understand. So we'll get to Sammy Sosa at the top of the Brent's decked out in his Cubs gear today. So I walked in the studio and I was like, "You hear what Sammy said?" He's like, "What?" Like it's just completely random stuff today about Sammy Sosa.
my morning's been occupied by Superman.
A lot of people's mornings are occupied by Superman. And oh yes, we will get into the Superman trailer coming up later in the show. But the Holiday Bowl is next Friday here, Snapdragon Stadium. Tickets are still available. holidaybowl.com. And we are giving away a free pair of Holiday Bowl tickets on today's show. So keep listening for your chance to win some Holiday Bowl tickets for next Friday's game. But why college football right now is still broken in many, many ways. You gotta, with the new college football playoff system, you have got to change the transfer portal window. You just have to. Like the transfer portal window cannot open up right before bowl season. It just can't. Because if it continues to, which it is, you're going to get situations like you're getting right now with Washington State. Washington State is slated to play in the Holiday Bowl next Friday, but they will be without 20 of their players, most starters. They will be without multiple coaches on the staff, both coordinators, their quarterback's coach, numerous top players, their quarterback, John Mateer, all in the transfer portal. Oh, and by the way, their coach just left them for Wake Forest. Wake Forest. Washington State and Wake Forest. I don't see a step up there. Now, do you say, okay, well, Wake Forest is at least in a Power 5 conference in the ACC, and Washington State, snooze you lose, you're now in a Pac-12 that's not in a Power 5. It's a group of 5, essentially, even though you have the name Pac-12. Okay. Do you have the audio, Brent? Can we play the audio or no? We can't play the audio? Well, I want to watch these bowl games, but it's making it really hard to even care when you have so many people in the transfer portal. And it sucks because the Holiday Bowl at Snapdragon Stadium, under the lights, the KGB Sky Show, it's going to be fantastic. The game itself, still, absolutely got to go to that because of the Sky Show. Washington State, Syracuse, yes, there's some intrigue there for sure. I'm just more or less talking about, if you're a Washington State fan, 20 plus players, including your starting QB, are all in the portal. Your quarterback's coaches are gone. Other, players are gone. Your head coach just left for Wake Forest.
Well, Lane Kiffin said something about it. It was like last week or a week and a half. The SMU head coach, he said something about it this week. You got to just change when the portal starts. Why are you having the portal start a week before the college football playoff and all the bowl games?
Have to.
Just do it. Just push it back a month until after the college football playoff, so we don't have situations like this to where now, teams barely have enough players to even go play their bowl game because everyone's just entered the portal. Just change it and just do it after the bowl season.
Yeah, Jake Dickert, the former coach of Washington State and now the head coach at Wake Forest, it's just the whole thing is just a bad look, man. But it's college football, so it is what it is.
That's the future of it now. But yeah, they need to move the portal back after the college football playoff.
I get it, but also that's brutal. What if, hypothetical situation, San Diego State, say they have a really good year one year, and they're headed off to a big time bowl game. I don't know, whatever. Okay, the Cotton Bowl. Is the Cotton Bowl in the college football playoff?
Yes.
Okay, never mind. I don't know. The Pop-Tart Bowl actually is like a big time bowl now.
Well, see, that was my next point is if this keeps up and they don't move the transfer portal to after the bowl season, we're going to get nothing but gimmicky bowls. We're going to get
until the college football playoff.
But
still,
because
in the transfer portal there too.
Yeah, until it affects that. But we're going to be stuck with, the Duke's Mayo Bowl and stuff of, it doesn't really matter so much about the game. It's everyone's tuning in to, watch the Pop-Tart go into the toaster and get eaten, or to watch the head coach get mayonnaise dumped on him. And it's going to be kind of hokey, gimmicky stuff like that that's going to get put into all the bowl games because they can't factor on the players actually playing in it because of the portal.
Well, the hypothetical is like San Diego State makes a good bowl game, and then in the middle of the night, Sean Lewis gets picked up by a Power 5 school, and they have 15 to 20 players in the transfer portal, and then they lose their quarterback's coach, and they lose their defensive coordinator. That's the kind of scary thought of most of these college football programs that aren't the Alabamas and the big time schools that are going to be in the college football playoff year in and year out, that you're going to have your coach in the middle of the night, like Jake Durkett right here, just say, okay, peace out, bye. So anyway, Washington State, man. A lot of players in the transfer portal. Transfer portal is just, they gotta fix it. They have to fix it. All right, coming up next, Why is Sammy Sosa in the news today? We'll get to that whole weird conversation coming up next. All right, this update is brought to you by Lexus Carlsbad. Experience auto enjoyment. We'll start with football tonight. Thursday night football. Broncos taking on the Chargers. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. In San Diego FC today, they released their inaugural 2025 schedule. They'll open up the year February 23rd up in Carson against the LA Galaxy, 4 p.m. kickoff there. Their inaugural home match will be March 1st against St. Louis at 7:30 here at Snapdragon Stadium. Now through December 29th, get big savings at Lexus Carlsbad during the December to Remember sales event on select new Lexus models. Get 2.49% APR financing, limited terms on approved premium credit only. Details at lexuscarlsbad.com or visit Lexus Carlsbad today.
Getting you all set for that drive home. Let's just start the show. Here's Jon and Jim.
All right, hour 2 of Jon and Jim on a Thursday, taking you to Thursday Night Football, 5:15 kickoff time in LA, Chargers and Broncos. You can listen to that right here on San Diego Sports 760. Chris Hodge is going to join us at 4:30. Jack Cronin going to join us around 3:30. Talk about the San Diego FC's schedule release today. Long season. Did not realize how long of a season it is in MLS. It's like February to October. But nonetheless, we'll talk to Jack at 3:30.
It's like golf and NASCAR.
It's a long season. And no, we will not break down every single game. We won't. Jack might.
We have time.
We do have a lot of time. Yeah, we have a lot of time.
Even today, we still have lots of time.
I will not break down individual matches for San Diego FC because that would take about, I don't know, 5 hours. We only have about 2 left in the show. Okay, so Sammy Sosa in the news today. Brent didn't even know about this until he came in today. But Sammy Sosa released a statement kind of out of the blue. I mean, to most people that are sports fans. But going back to 1998, that to me was like must obviously watch television. The home run chase between Sosa and Mark McGwire, coming off of the strike shortened season in 1994, they needed something to bring the baseball fan back. What was it? It was the home run chase. Now, it was the home run chase, but underneath it, the underline of it all was, a foundation of being built on steroids through the entire sport. So it wasn't just a couple guys. It was like the entire league. And what did the entire league do? They looked the other way. You cannot tell me that a sport that damn near almost everybody in it was doing something and nobody around baseball in the front offices or execs or Bud Selig knew anything about it. That's a bunch of bull. Of course they did. And guess what they did? They saw the money coming in because of the home run chase. Numbers were up. Home runs were up. Viewership was up. Look the other way. So Sammy Sosa released this statement today. It reads, I left it all on the field for the Cubs and Cubs fans because I wanted to win and make the fans happy. I loved to see the fans at Wrigley in the right field bleachers every home game. I understand why some players in my era don't always get the recognition that our stats deserve. There were times I did whatever I could to recover from injuries in an effort to keep my strength up to perform over 162 games. I never broke any laws, but in hindsight, I made mistakes and I apologize. We accomplished great things as a team, and I worked extremely hard in the batting cage to become a great hitter. Cubs fans are the best in the world, and I hope the fans, the Cubs, and I can all come together again and move forward. We can't change the past, but the future is bright. In my heart, I have always been a Cub, and I can't wait to see Cubs fans again. Wasn't Sammy Sosa like pretty much banned from anything Cubs related, Brent? Like they don't want to have any association with Sammy Sosa?
Yeah, because he ran his mouth about the team too. And, he forgot an apology in there. He didn't apologize for corking his bat.
Oh, yeah, that was a problem.
Which I was a huge Sosa guy growing up. I was like 17 that summer, going on 18, and I was like just glued to WGN that
He was
whole
must
time.
watch television.
And I was willing to overlook the juicing like everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
But then when he got popped with the corked bat.
So the cork bat for you
that was
more impactful
yes.
as far as hurting him than the steroids?
You can give, the Andy Pettit excuse of, oh, I just took this, steroids to help me heal from injuries.
Barry Bonds, I just took the cream.
There's no, oh yeah, I don't know. That was a batting practice bat, I think was his lame excuse of why do you even have a bat with cork in it? It's illegal.
Yeah, that was bad.
At least like he said, no, you didn't break any laws, baseball or maybe otherwise, but you didn't break any baseball rules with it. But there is a rule about corking your bat, and he never apologized for it then, and apparently he's still not going to. And yeah, then he just got into it with the Cubs, and then he just got really weird. He bleached his skin for like no reason that one time, to where it was like all of a sudden he was like
what happened to Sammy?
Yeah, it's just like, dude, are you okay, like mentally? To where it's like people were worried about him just in general. But I don't know. I think Sammy he wants to go to the Hall of Fame.
He won't go to the Hall of Fame.
Well, I know he won't go. I know he won't. None of those steroid guys will. But I think in his mind, well, maybe if I'm the first one to actually come out and admit it and apologize for it publicly, then maybe someday they'll let me in, because at least I fessed up to it.
Now, technically, he didn't really admit anything in this. He did not say he took steroids. He just said, I'm sorry. What are you sorry for, though? He didn't admit anything here. This is like an admission of guilt without admitting what you did. Like looking at this statement here, it says, where is it? I have never broken any laws, but in hindsight, I made mistakes and I apologize. Okay, what are you apologizing for? That's kind of where I think maybe some people are at. I don't care, honestly. Like I am on this side. All right. You know how hard it is to hit a baseball? You know how hard it is to hit a baseball? It's extremely hard. Like probably one of the most difficult things in all of sports, other than golf to me is so difficult because it's just you and a tiny little ball. Baseball, you got to hit off of someone throwing at you. That's like insane. Okay? Football, if you're super athletic and quick and strong, like you can make your way in football. I'm not saying football is easy, but it's not like baseball. Baseball is such a mental game to the point where, like, if you fail 7 out of 10 times, you're considered an all-star. You fail 7 out of 10 times in football, you're cut. You miss 7 of 10 shots in basketball, you're on the bench, shooting 30%. It's not good enough. But in baseball, you hit 300, you're an all-star. And I always look at, because of how hard it was and how hard it is to hit a 95 mile per hour pitch or a curveball or anything, that steroids in baseball was more about not being able to hit a baseball, but to keep you on the field, to keep you away from injuries, to keep up with a long 162 game season. Barry Bonds without steroids is still one of the best hitters and best home run hitters ever. Yeah, it helped him obviously stay on the field and power and all that, but like at the same time, dude was considered, and I still think he is, one of the best hitters the game's ever seen. Sammy Sosa, I wanted Sammy Sosa to win and beat out Mark McGwire, and I wanted him to break the record. Now, he ended up hitting 66 that year, and Mark McGwire hit 70, so they both broke it. But I wanted Sammy to break it first. And it was that moment with Mark McGwire breaking the home run record against the Cubs, dude, cinema. And baseball just cashed all the checks. And then when the time came, they blamed the players. Oh, we didn't know this was happening. How could they do this? But I think the reason why Sammy is doing this and saying this now, even though he hasn't really admitted to anything, he's just saying sorry, is because of the fact that Sammy has been like pretty much banished from the Cubs. And the Cubs are going to want him to say and do things like this in order to get back in their good graces. Like, hey, you want to be a part of this organization again? Like as a legendary figure? Well, you're going to have to apologize. You're going to have to bend the knee.
I think he's broke too. And he probably wants,
well, that too.
Wants to get invited back to, Cubs fantasy camp and all that stuff so he can make a buck. I agree that steroids aren't going to help you hit the ball, but they're going to help you hit it faster.
For sure. I'm not saying they're not.
There's no way Bonds goes from 34 home runs to 73 without
understand
it.
Absolutely. No, you're right. I get that. I understand that. But, when you have something that everybody does, I mean, it's like if you're on a highway and everybody's going, 85 in a 65 zone, and the cop doesn't pull anybody over, like that's what happened in baseball in the steroid era. Everybody's going 85 in a 60, and no cop pulled them over. And then finally, cops are like, okay, we're going to pull over, the nice cars. It's like, whoa, everybody's doing this. And baseball benefited off it greatly. And I don't really think they've recovered since. Like, there's been moments for sure, like in the early 2000s, I think, when the Red Sox won the World Series for the first time ever, however many years, 80-something years, like that was a huge moment for baseball. I think the Dodgers-Yankees World Series this past year was a big moment for baseball, but like you haven't gotten back to that where baseball has broke through on a national level for something that is praised instead of criticized. Like the only time any news outlets or anything are talking about baseball, either it's criticism or a scandal or something that happened that's a controversy.
I think they should just take that, time period of baseball and just not in like a good way, but just give them their own section in the hall. If you don't want to induct them, then fine. Then just kind of group that whole era into one grouping. So then you don't have to just go, oh, well, this guy was on this. We'll just assume that pretty much everybody was on something. And we'll just make this wing, 95 through 2001 until they started testing for clear and all that other stuff. And so then that way they're still recognizing it and not, just shunning it and acting like it doesn't exist, but they don't have to give them full credit, if that makes sense.
Buster Olney had a good tweet and a good take on this. He says, organizations that insist upon apologies from steroid era players in return for entrance into team events should be required to issue their own apologies for looking the other way while cashing checks. 100%. Like I just said, baseball benefited like so much off the steroid era, yet they don't look like the bad guys here. Yeah, it is a weird situation. Sammy has to bend the knee to the Cubs for him to get back into any good graces with them and to be at any team event or to be recognized at all. Yet the teams are sitting there thinking like they did no wrong either. Interesting. All right, coming up later this hour, Jack Cronin's going to join us to talk about San Diego FC's inaugural home schedule and away schedule. The full slate for the 2025 season was released today. Jack joins us at 3:30. Chris Hodge joins us at 4:30. More Jon and Jim coming up next.
All right, Hamul Casino is Jon and Jim for our friends over at Hamul. It's a great month to get out there. It really is this holiday season. You can join them every Monday this month. You'll have chances to win big luxury handbags, top brands like Louis Vuitton, Versace, and more. They've got 10 winners every hour. 7, 8, 9 p.m. Onyx players receiving an extra $100 in cash bonuses, plus one lucky winner each hour will have the opportunity to pick a purse packed with cash. We're talking about up to $25,000, and you'll get to keep the purse as well.
Yeah, and if you're lucky enough to win a Louis Vuitton, Burberry, or Versace purse, or win that and $25,000 in cash, you can head on over to Tony Gwynn Sports Pub, Loft 94, or their poker room to watch all the sporting action that they have for you. NFL, college basketball, college football, NBA, NHL, they have it all.
Also, New Year's Eve, just over 2 weeks away. Get to Hamul. They've got the holographic New Year's party. You can celebrate in style. They'll kick off festivities with $20 free play for all, beginning at noon. Make it an unforgettable New Year's celebration out of Hamul Casino.
Yeah, get ready for New Year's with Hamul. You can also win a lot of money with Hamul, some stylish handbags at Hamul, and watch all the sporting events you want. And they have great dining experiences, too, with amazing food selections. Only at Hamul Casino. It's fun above all else. The Aztecs are back Saturday to take on Cal. Pre-game coverage starts at 6:30 p.m. Tip around 7:30. Home for the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760. This was a wild story that came out today, Brian, from the NFL. And Diana Rossini, who is an NFL insider for The Athletic, put out a big article in The Athletic about the dysfunctional New York Jets, the Jets, Jets. And in the article, this is what like everybody's talking about today. That here's an excerpt from the piece. Joe Douglas told the Broncos that Woody Johnson didn't want to make the trade for Jerry Jeudy because the owner felt like Judy's player ratings in Madden, the popular video game, wasn't high enough. What? Oh my God. Oh man. Man, if you're a Jets fan, you are hoping Woody Johnson like goes overseas as a part of this new administration and just leaves town, because I trust this type of reporting from her and, you know, The Athletic. Of course, Mike Silver's on this as well. You didn't want to trade for a player because you looked at his Madden ratings. That is why the Jets are the Jets, and that's why that organization will always be the laughingstock of the NFL.
He says that, but yet they traded for Aaron Rodgers. He didn't look at his Madden ratings.
I bet he did look at Aaron Rodgers' Madden ratings from 10 years ago. It was like 99 across the board. Let's go.
Yeah, he would have had to look at the same year as Jerry Jeudy, so he would have been bad.
Like, what? And then it was funny because Jerry Jeudy then came out on Twitter today and said this. Let me just pull this up here. Jerry Jeudy. By the way, Jerry Jeudy, I think he's with the Browns now. He's probably pissed that Jameis Winston got benched because dude balled out with Jameis Winston. Yeah, Jerry Jeudy said this today. I blame Chad Ochocinco. Laughing face emoji. Like, dude, if you're the owner of the team, first off, any owner of any team, just stay out of the way of their GMs at all times. But getting in the way of their GMs is not new in sport at all. It happens around every single team. Their owner doesn't know what they're doing and they interject themselves and it turns out to be a disaster. But if you're injecting yourself and you're saying to not go trade for a player because you don't like their Madden ratings, oh my God. Disaster. That's why the Jets, like I said, will always be the stupid Jets. They will never win. And it's the same thing how I feel about the Chargers, even though right now, Jim Harbaugh, like, if you were to have anybody to bring in that's going to, you know, not be ruined by an awful owner, it's Jim Harbaugh. So I think that's the only reason why the Chargers can have any success is because Jim is going to, you know, outweigh the stupidity from the Spanoses.
I could totally see Jera doing that.
Oh, well, Jerry's now senile, and I don't know if Jerry's would do that, but it would be like maybe like an offhanded comment, like says.
Well, someone would do it for him because I don't think he could figure out how to turn a PlayStation on.
Correct, or read at all either, because he's old. So yeah, Woody Johnson, you're a fool, and the Jets suck, and they'll always suck forever. All right, coming up next, Jack Cronin is going to join us to talk about San Diego FC's 2025 inaugural schedule and what games to watch on that schedule. And there's one match on there that should be on there, but it's not. I'll ask him about that coming up next on Jon and Jim. All right, this update is brought to you by Lexus Carlsbad. Experience auto enjoyment. Thursday Night Football tonight, right here on San Diego Sports 760. Chargers and Broncos, 5:15 kickoff time there. And San Diego FC today announced their 2025 inaugural schedule. We'll talk to Jack Cronin, come up here in a bit about everything you need to know about the 2025 schedule for San Diego FC. Now through December 29th, get big savings at Lexus Carlsbad during the December to Remember sales event. On select new Lexus models, get 2.49% APR financing, limited terms on approved premium credit only. Details at LexusCarlsbad.com or visit Lexus Carlsbad today. All right, so if you're a San Diego FC fan, you've been waiting for this day for a while now. Obviously, the kits and the jersey reveals were a big deal, yes. Still waiting on the away kits. That will be debut February 1st, I think. That's what it was. That's what San Diego FC told us. So I think early February is when the away kits will be revealed. But today, San Diego FC revealed their schedule for the 2025 season. Their first match will be, we've known this, February 23rd, up in Carson against the defending MLS Cup champion LA Galaxy. And then their inaugural home match will be March 1st against St. Louis at 7:30 p.m. Right now, just looking at their schedule here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I count 17 home matches for the upcoming season for SDFC. And it's interesting because there is one team that is not on their schedule. And it's funny because, like, they're kind of marketing this and everybody was kind of waiting to see when that Inter Miami game with Messi was going to be. And it's on the list. I think if I were SDFC, I would not be too happy about that. I think that, being an expansion franchise, Lionel Messi, the number one soccer player in the world, one of the most followed athletes in the world on social media, easily the biggest draw to your sport. Wouldn't you want to help out San Diego FC? Wouldn't you want to have Inter Miami come to San Diego? It's just kind of weird to me. I don't know. I think that MLS dropped the ball there and not putting them on that schedule. I think SDFC fans should have a gripe with that. We'll get Jack Cronin's thoughts on that right now. Jack Cronin joining us from Kogo. Jack, look, I was just talking about this. The SDFC schedule release just was announced this morning, and I bet you a lot of people were looking for that Inter Miami game, and they ain't there. It's not there. What'd you make of that? So for fans out there that want to pick up soccer and be a SDFC fan, their first question might be, man, it's a long season, February to October. Like what? Why is that? Yeah. Wow. So other than the fact that Inter Miami's not on the schedule, the San Diego FC will not see Messi this year. What other matches stood out to you on their 2025 schedule here, Jack? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the team has taken shape here, Jack. They've made a lot of moves. It's hard to keep up on all of them because they had the expansion, or not the expansion draft. What was the draft? Expansion draft, and then they have signed some players as well. What has stood out to you so far as how they have built this team up early on in the year? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Be by the time we get to the end of February.
All right, so a little confusing, but it's the way the whole sport is, where a lot of movement happening. It feels like it feels like almost every single team is having this amount of movement every offseason, right?
Yes, and I think that's because of the very strict salary cap.
Absolutely.
So that you really there are certain players, if you're under the age of 22, they're worth more or less based on the salary cap. The designated players are exempt. There's certain numbers that count, and you have allocation money where you can buy down the value of your players toward the salary cap. It's very confusing. I think some people, a small part of us, will find that entertaining to try and follow. I think the rest of us will just have to get involved in the team itself, the atmosphere, the on-field product at Snapdragon Stadium, because it is very difficult at times to follow.
Exactly. Real quick before we let you go, Jack, what was your thoughts on the home jersey reveal?
That was great. I mean, to me, very simple, very elegant color schemes here. The silver and the blue, the chrome and azul. I think you can do a ton with that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, to me, those colors immediately draw you in. They're great San Diego colors. And so, this is, you have DirecTV, we're carrying the Holiday Bowl, the DirecTV Holiday Bowl coming up on the 27th. So a partner already in sports. It was very cool to see.
All right, so San Diego FC, their first match of the year, February 23rd against LA Galaxy, and then their inaugural home match will be March 1st here at Snapdragon Stadium against St. Louis at 7:30. Jack, thanks for breaking this all down with us, and we'll talk to you soon, man.
Appreciate it, brother.
All right, there's Jack Cronin there from Kogo talking about the SDFC schedule. Long season, but 17 home matches, 17 away matches. They have the Leagues Cup in there from July to August. So that kind of is a reason why the schedule here and the season is as long as it is. But yeah, it's going to be a fun, exciting new venture to watch here. And I'm excited to see what it all looks like and the stadium and the atmosphere. And March 1st, yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. All right, right now, caller number 7, 877-767-4760. Caller number 7, 877-767-4760. You've won a pair of tickets to the Holiday Bowl next Friday night here at Snapdragon Stadium against Syracuse and Washington State. 7th caller, 877-767-4760. You won tickets to the Holiday Bowl. More Jon and Jim coming up next.
Hi, back here on Jon and Jim. AM radio keeps vital voices accessible. Congress can secure its future. But we need your help, guys. Text AM to 52886 right now to support keeping AM radio and shows like this in your car. Tell your member of Congress to pass legislation now. AM radio in
Cars, standard message and data rates do apply. That would be huge for us because if AM radio goes away, then guess what? No Jon and Jim. There we go. So tonight's NFL game, Chargers, Broncos, whatever. I mean, okay, but it is a very important game for both of these teams. Like, you got a Broncos team that I think has outdone their expectations for this year. 9-5 on the season, rookie quarterback, really good defense. Like, I know Colin the other day said that, yeah, Sean Payton should be the coach of the year. I don't know about that one, but he's done a hell of a job there in year 2. Is it year 2? I think it's year 2. Year 2 or year 3?
It's year 2 because year 1 was with Russ, and then he blamed everything on Russ, and then
right. So
Chargers are only favored by 2.5.
I think I mean, I know it's a home game, but still, I think Denver, for me, should be closer than 2.5.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of my point. I thought it'd be more of a push.
But it's a big game for both teams nonetheless, because the Chargers are still fighting for a playoff spot. And the Broncos, while 9-5, they're not going to win the division. But still, getting a firm grip on a playoff spot would be huge. And Bo Nix is a guy that hasn't really been talked about a lot this year. Like, how many times have you heard people talk about Bo Nix this season, Brent?
Not a lot, because, there's been a lot of other, between Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams sucking it up. And, there's been a lot of other, like, rookie quarterbacks that have just been taking a lot of the attention away. And now with Penix Jr. finally getting the start in Atlanta, I don't think Bo Nix is going to get he's going to get even less press now, unless he just comes out and just, if he throws 5 touchdowns tonight on prime time, then maybe they'll change.
I mean, he's had a good season. He's
been all right.
Almost 3,000 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, an 86.1 quarterback rating. Like, for a rookie, for a 30-year-old rookie, he's not 30 years old, but
he's done better than I thought he was going to do.
Yeah, 12th overall pick. He's a guy that, has shown promise this season for sure. Only 11 interceptions on the year. Now, his last game was not good. It was like every time he dropped back, it was interception incoming. But overall, Bo Nix has turned out to be pretty decent for the Broncos. And then you look on the other side of the ball, the Chargers, I think in year 1 with Justin Herbert having no offensive weapons at all, this is probably the best that Jim Harbaugh could do. And you all knew, and I knew, that Jim Harbaugh was going to go there and turn that sorry-ass franchise into winners, because that's what Jim does. He turns everybody into winners.
He's a good coach.
He's a great coach. Even the low-life loser Spanos family can get turned around if you have Jim Harbaugh as your head coach.
I wanted him to be the Bears coach, but
a lot of
stupid Eberflus.
Yeah, a lot. Do you even think, though, that he would have gone to Chicago if the Bears made a hard run at Harbaugh? You think so?
Just because he was a Bear.
I know, but still, I think
he had a connection to where, I think he would have. And, Bears fans have always had a fondness for him ever since, it's not like, that they hate him or anything. So I think he would have been a popular coach. He would have been their most, at least unless he blew it, but he would have been their most popular coach since Lovey.
I think this is about control, and I don't know if they wanted to give Jim all the control that he's getting in LA. Now, the Chargers do have a GM. I have no idea who it is, nor do I care. But you can bet your ass that Harbaugh has final say in a lot of things in there. I don't know if he's going to get that in Chicago. For a guy like Harbaugh, wherever he goes, he's going to want it run his way. He's going to want final call on a lot of things. And oh, by the way, Herbert over Caleb Williams, I understand it. Caleb has a really bright bright future. Can't even speak. but Herbert's already established as like that's put some weapons around him. He can be a top 10 quarterback. Right now, Herbert, he has all the skill set. Just they don't have no one around him. Like when Lad McConkey is your number one go-to guy, yeah, it's a problem.
Oh, come on. He'll be a Pro Bowler.
Probably. Yeah, because
the 15 other wide
Yeah.
outs that get picked in front of him won't go.
He'll go to the Pro Bowl, what's it called? Dodgeball competition.
Yeah, play flag football and dodgeball and
Exactly.
fourth grade gym class.
In the NFL, it's all about all pros. Like the Pro Bowl now has become kind of irrelevant to have on your ledger, on your list of accomplishments. I mean, it's there, but at the same time, like you said, everybody gets a Pro Bowl. You get a Pro Bowl, you get a Pro Bowl, you get a Pro Bowl. Being an all pro is way bigger of accomplishment than becoming a Pro Bowler.
And, it used to be, oh, hey, cool. We get a free trip to Hawaii. Now it's like with all the money they play, it's like, yeah, that's cool. I'll go to Hawaii later.
Exactly. All right. Coming up next hour, we'll dive back into Padres rumors from Jeff Passan. Also, new interesting news that just popped up on my timeline involving Roki Sasaki. We'll get to that. And the breakdown and our thoughts on the brand new Superman trailer. All of that in hour 3 coming up next. All right, this update is brought to you by Lexus Carlsbad. Experience auto enjoyment. Thursday night football tonight. Broncos and Chargers. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. And San Diego FC released their inaugural 2025 schedule. They'll open up their season February 23rd up in Carson against the defending MLS Cup champion LA Galaxy at 4 p.m. Then their first home match in club history will be March 1st against St. Louis at Snapdragon Stadium at 7:30. Now through December 29th, get big savings at Lexus Carlsbad during the December to Remember sales event on select new Lexus models. Get 2.49% APR financing, limited terms on approved premium credit only. Details at LexusCarlsbad.com or visit Lexus Carlsbad today.
Getting you all set for that drive home. Let's just start the show. Here's Jon and Jim.
All right, hour 3 of Jon and Jim. Chris Hodge is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Dude is on an absolute heater right now. So if you want to win some big-time money, you better be listening to Chris Hodge at 4:30. We'll get into our Superman trailer breakdown later this hour as well. We also have auto show tickets to give away. So stay tuned for that. This just popped up on my timeline, Brent, and I jump scared. I got a jump scare. Roki Sasaki, according to Andy Martino, who is dialed in with the New York media market. According to Andy Martino, Roki Sasaki has met with the Mets today. Or I guess is meeting with the Mets today. Must be nice. It's awesome. When are we going to see a Dennis Lin or a Kevin Acee? Roki Sasaki's meeting with the Padres today.
Maybe they invited him to Christmas dinner.
I don't think AJ Preller does Christmas. He's just working.
They will this year. They'll eat at the office while he's on the phone doing trades.
Do you think AJ Preller just takes a break? Do you during Christmas dinner or?
Yes, but I think his version of a break is just standing still and doing nothing for 5 minutes.
He's I gotta get back on the phone. I gotta get back on the phone.
All right, back at it.
So yeah,
what was that movie when the guy's like, "Oh, you need to rest," and he just stops and he's like, "All right, back at it. Time to go.
I'm ready to go." AJ Preller takes power naps. He does not sleep.
Yeah,
his naps consist.
He sleeps with his eyes open like Gandalf.
He just stands up and sleeps with his arms crossed like a vampire. Okay, great. So Roki Sasaki's just meeting with all these teams right now. Meanwhile, the Padres, maybe they've met with them. I don't know, but I feel like that would come out. And it hasn't yet. Now, we have not seen a report about him meeting with the Dodgers yet. But as of right now, there's 3 teams that we can pinpoint. The White Sox. Okay, yeah, right. Come
on, didn't you see that hot chocolate thing they made for him?
Yeah. They what?
Oh, you didn't see that? It might have been a joke. They
probably was a joke.
They posted they have some crazy hot chocolate thing you can get that has these huge ass marshmallows and stuff in it. And they're like
in Chicago?
Oh, yeah. And they're like, "Oh, this is the key to getting Roki to come here."
And he's met with the Mets. And then he's also lined up a meeting with the New York Yankees as well.
Maybe he's just going to start on the East Coast
and work his way
to
the West Coast.
His way west.
Well, this just came in from Mark Feinsand about Roki Sasaki, saying this. After acquiring Kyle Tucker from the Astros, they, the Cubs, clearly are thinking that they can contend in a wide open NL Central. Plus, they currently have Shoto Imanaga in the rotation and Seiya Suzuki in their lineup. They also view Roki Sasaki as a top target. And Mark Feinsand is saying that the Cubs are serious players in going after Roki Sasaki this offseason. Okay, well, put them with the Mets and the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Giants and the Padres. Of course, everybody's going to say that they're serious contenders, or at least they are in serious pursuit of Roki Sasaki. He is the best bargain free agent since Shohei Ohtani. Almost 10 years ago. Shohei Ohtani coming to the big leagues, the time that he did, being a two-way player, pitcher and hitter, was the best bargain of his class back in, I think, 2016 and then the 2017 season. So it's been a little while since you've had this type of player on the market that any team could go out and get. Now, does every team have a shot at Roki Sasaki? No, because this is ultimately his decision. But teams like the Cubs, the Red Sox, the Giants, the White Sox, name a bad team, the Rockies, the A's, even the freaking Marlins, if they were like seriously considering Roki Sasaki, could have a chance to land him. Are those teams going to land him? No, but still, best bang for your buck out there, no question about it. And this is starting to turn into one of those, like, you got a crush on a girl and she's single.
So you're sitting by the phone waiting for her to call.
And you have all the other dudes talking to her at the bar, and you're like, oh, okay. Like, Roki is the bachelor. He has to be courted. And I'm looking at the landscape of this offseason for the Padres, and every day that passes and every article that comes out about, they have to trade this guy and they got to trade this guy and they got to get under the CBT and they got to do this, they got to do that. It makes Roki even that much more important to land. You land Roki Sasaki, A+ offseason, in my opinion, even if they do trade Dylan Cease. Now, if you trade Dylan Cease, I think you get some good players back for him. And also you have Roki Sasaki as well. So every day that passes, the more, I want to say, pressure is, I think, put on the Padres to land Roki. Because, if they don't, man, that's just going to be brutal. It's going to be brutal. Like, it's the meme of dudes getting kicked in the nuts nonstop, over and over and over again. Will they still have a good team next year? On paper, yeah. Could they still compete? Yeah. But if you didn't land Roki, it just would be another just massive bummer coming off of a season that you had such high hopes for, heading into a postseason where people are picking you to win the World Series, and it all comes crashing down in the final two games against the Dodgers. And if you lose out on Roki,
it'd be the equivalent of Christmas morning. You wake up and all you get is socks.
Like, oh, yay.
Like, yes, I can't wait for Christmas morning. Ripping the socks.
Like, that's it. Like, I just got socks.
Yeah, it's like, my parents always used to joke about, here, open all your boring flat boxes first when I was a kid, because you knew those had clothes in them, and I had I didn't care what was in them.
Oh yeah, I would. You knew from the second you picked it up, that's clothes. That's clothes. You just knew. But hopefully the present under the Padres tree this year is the big one, which is Roki Sasaki. And it must be nice that he's meeting with all these teams and having a fun time with the Mets and the Yankees. And when is it the Padres' turn? I would hope that it's soon. And I would hope that someone reports on that, because that would be nice to unwrap a little bit of, like, hey, okay, the Padres are meeting with Roki Sasaki today. And then let the speculation begin on what the pitch is to Sasaki, what they're going to say, who's in the meeting, how did it go.
That story will drop Monday at 5:59 p.m.
It will drop. Yeah, no, it will. Yeah, you're right. Probably right into Christmas. Now, I won't be here, but still, it will drop tomorrow at 5:59 p.m. Like, you couldn't have given me that for the last 3 days. AJ Caswell wrote a piece earlier this week about the pitch to Roki Sasaki, and it's going to be fascinating to find out what the main, I guess, pitch to Roki will be from AJ Preller and the Padres. Is it the fact that they can compete? Is it the Yu Darvish factor? Is it the development that you can get here under Ruben Niebla, who is fantastic and can give you the tools necessary to become not only just a really good pitcher in the league, but considered maybe one of the best pitchers in the league? And they have a very good track record here in San Diego with Ruben Niebla to show Roki, hey, look what happened with Seth Lugo. Look what happened with Michael Wacha. Took Seth Lugo in last year. Look what happened with Michael King. Seth Lugo 2 years ago came here as a reliever, turned him into a starter, and the dude finished top 3 in Cy Young voting this past season. Hell, he almost won the thing if it wasn't for Tariq Skubal, who took away it with every single vote. And then you look at guys like Michael King, has never pitched a full season as a starter, came in this past year under Ruben Niebla, and what did he do? He was amazing. He's fantastic. So you have a track record here with the development that the Padres have had under Ruben Niebla for the last 4+ years. And it's been really good. So whenever they do meet, I need to know the details of the pitch. I need to know where they met. Did they go out to dinner? All of it. Kevin, if you're listening, bro, I need all the deets whenever they meet with Roki Sasaki. I need everything, down to like what Roki ordered for dinner. Did he order a steak? Did he order just a salad? I need it all. Now, will it mean anything? No. And of course, you know what's going to happen. The meeting's going to occur. They're going to meet with Roki Sasaki. Reports are going to come out. Great meeting. Could not have gone any better. Blown away. Like, you never see a report from a meeting and be like, man, that meeting was awful. Like, they bombed that pitch.
Yeah, but I would say that regardless, even if it's the worst friggin' meeting ever.
Exactly.
If I'm his agent, I'd be like, oh, God, they're in love with each other already. It's just, they can't stand to be separated from each other. This is just going to be such a great relationship. And, just to get the next team that, like you said, has their bachelorette date,
right.
They got to top it, the Mets got to go and play tennis and have dinner on the beach. So we have to go to some fancy concert. They're going to have to one up them.
So we'll wait and we'll continue to wait. Somebody on X just tweeted at me. Caden says, Jim, what are you going to do to celebrate if and when the Padres make their first significant move of the offseason? I said, I'll talk about it. Like, that's what I'll do. I'll talk about anything at this point. Any freaking move. Just make a minor league move. I don't care. Sign a minor league player. Do it. I dare you. I dare you, Padres. I dare you, AJ. Make one move between now and 5:59 tomorrow afternoon. I dare you. You're damn right I'll talk about it for 4 freaking hours. You sign Elias Diaz tomorrow. You bet your ass that's leading the show. You sign Martin Maldonado. You bet your ass that's 4 hours of content tomorrow, buddy, including another hour here on Jon and Jim. Meet with Roki. Have a meeting. You bet your ass it's going to be 5 hours of content. I'll talk about that thing until I'm blue in the face. But yeah, until then, we just wait. So Roki's meeting with other teams. That's awesome. Great. Cool. Cool to see that. I like to see my crush talking to other dudes. Like the one person that I have like the ultimate crush on. I have like a shrine of them in my locker talking to other guys. That's how I feel about Roki right now. So until then, we wait. All right, Chris Hodge is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Also, we'll get to our Superman trailer review coming up later this hour as well. But right now, 877-767-4760. Caller number 5, Brent. You have won a 4-pack of tickets to the 2025 San Diego International Auto Show. All you got to do is call 877-767-4760, and you've won a 4-pack of tickets to the 2025 San Diego International Auto Show. More Jon and Jim coming up next.
All right, Hamul Casino is Jon and Jim for our friends over at Hamul. It's a great month to get out there. It really is this holiday season. You can join them every Monday this month. You'll have chances to win big luxury handbags, top brands like Louis Vuitton, Versace, and more. They've got 10 winners every hour. 7, 8, 9 p.m. Onyx players receiving an extra $100 in cash bonuses, plus one lucky winner each hour will have the opportunity to pick a purse packed with cash. We're talking about up to $25,000, and you'll get to keep the purse as well.
Yeah, and if you're lucky enough to win a Louis Vuitton, Burberry, or Versace purse, or win that and $25,000 in cash, you can head on over to Tony Gwynn Sports Pub, Loft 94, or their poker room to watch all the sporting action that they have for you. NFL, college basketball, college football, NBA, NHL, they have it all.
Also, New Year's Eve, just over 2 weeks away. Get to Hamul. They've got the holographic New Year's party. You can celebrate in style. They'll kick off festivities with $20 free play for all, beginning at noon. Make it an unforgettable New Year's celebration out of Hamul Casino.
Yeah, get ready for New Year's with Hamul. You can also win a lot of money with Hamul, some stylish handbags at Hamul, and watch all the sporting events you want. And they have great dining experiences, too, with amazing food selections. Only at Hamul Casino. It's fun above all else.
think Padres fans are sitting around thinking to themselves, like, I wonder where Ha-Seong Kim's going to play next year. Probably a lot. Well, this from Jeff Passan today on Ha-Seong Kim.
The two top middle infielders available are Ha-Seong Kim and Gleyber Torres. Ha-Seong Kim is targeting a late April return, and according to reports, does not. Hold on, let me pull this up here. Here we go. And according to reports, does not want to sign at a severe discount. So even though he's going to miss time next year, he's not looking to sign at a discounted price. So anybody out there that thought or is thinking that maybe Ha-Seong Kim could return to the Padres on a discounted price because he's not going to be able to play at the start of the season next year. And hell, he might be out until, I don't know, June-ish. Yeah, it's not happening. Even if Ha-Seong Kim were to return, you would still need to fill left field, catcher. Ha-Seong Kim would just be another cog in the wheel and probably end up making you have to trade Luis Ariz, because Luis Ariz is going to cost you money. Ha-Seong Kim, bringing him back, going to cost you a little bit of money. And you still need to figure out what you're doing in left field. So I never, once the offseason began, even before that, I never had any thought about Ha-Seong Kim could return here to San Diego. That's why it just makes literally no sense to me why they decided to move Xander over to second base last year. Like, you had a guy in Ha-Seong Kim that won a Gold Glove at second base last season, and you move him back to short, and he did not have a good year. Defensively, offensively, and he got injured. So if you're out there thinking, yeah, maybe Ha-Seong Kim could return. No, not going to happen. Especially if he's not looking to take a discount because of his injury. He's definitely going to be looking for a pretty good deal. I don't know what that deal is. I don't have any clue on what he would be wanting or what he's going to get. But if Jeff Passan says that, he's not going to take a deal at a severe discount, then he ain't coming back to San Diego. I always pegged him to be a San Francisco Giant. Like, that just, to me, like, okay, yeah, it makes too much sense because Jung-Hoo Lee, Bob Melvin, they need a shortstop badly. And then they went out and got the best shortstop on the market in Willy Adames. So I don't know where Ha-Seong Kim could go. I mean, it's just tough for him because of his injury. Like, if he was not injured, he might have been signed by now. Maybe not. I don't know. But still, that injury is going to hurt him in more ways than one. And it's probably going to hurt him and affect where and when he signs with the new team.
I think he might change his tune a little bit if the offers aren't coming in like he
Well,
thinks.
that's how that's how the Jerickson Profar deal came about a couple years ago. He thought that the big deal was going to come, never did, had to settle, and it was a disaster. Like, you got to know your worth. I know Ha-Seong Kim, thinks he's a really good shortstop, and at times, yeah, he is defensively. He has his moments for sure, but I just think with his injury, I might want to take a prove it deal. Maybe he does get a contract. I don't know. But if he's going to wait out to get a big time contract, like I remember we had
wait for a while.
We had Dan Zaborski of Fangraphs on, and he's mentioning Ha-Seong Kim could get a Dansby Swanson type of contract. I'm like, what? Dansby Swanson signed for like over $150 million with the Cubs. Now, the injury is a big factor into why that won't happen. But even if he wasn't injured, Dansby Swanson contract, like, I don't know about that one. So we'll see. I mean, people in the chat think that Ha-Seong Kim's going to the Dodgers. Everybody's going to go to the Dodgers. Everybody's going to the Dodgers. Okay. That would just be another kick in the groin. Like one of the most beloved Padres players the last 4 seasons or so, 3+ seasons, is Ha-Seong Kim. And he goes to the Dodgers. I don't know. I really don't know. But right now, what we do know is that the free agent market has come to a complete halt. It is the cold stove now. It is not even close to the hot stove. It is ice cold.
It's barely a hot plate.
It's not even a hot plate. Not even a hot plate. All right, coming up next, Chris Hodge is going to join us, talking Vegas, excuse me. He's going to join us at the bottom of the hour, and then we'll get to our Superman trailer review later in the hour. Stay with us. It's Jon and Jim. All right, this update is brought to you by Lexus Carlsbad Experience Auto Enjoyment. Thursday Night Football tonight, Chargers and Broncos. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760, 5:15 kickoff in L.A. And San Diego FC announced their inaugural 2025 schedule for their first ever season. Their home opener will be March 1st against St. Louis at 7:30. Their first match in club history will be February 23rd in Carson against the defending MLS Cup champion LA Galaxy at 4 p.m. Now through December 29th, get big savings at Lexus Carlsbad during the December to Remember sales event. On select new models, get 2.49% APR financing on limited terms on approved premium credit only. Details at lexuscarlsbad.com or visit Lexus Carlsbad today.
All right, back here on Jon and Jim. Coming up later this hour, we still got to get to the wrap. And, of course, Thursday Night Football, 5:15. You can listen to that game between the Broncos and the Chargers right here on San
Sports 760. But right now, as we are every week, great to be joined by Chris Hodge taking Vegas. And, Chris, you are on a little bit of a heater right now with all of your free picks.
Yeah, and thank you for having me. It's going really well on Thursday night. Another one, 7 straight free wins on the text line, 8-1, last 9. Big matchup tonight, playoff implications, Denver, LA. We have it for free on the text line, trying to make it 8 in a row. So just text the word win to the number 545454. Text the word win to the number 54545. You're going to get this play tonight. And we have a big game between Tulane and Florida tomorrow. We'll speak about that in a couple minutes. But if you want the free pick tonight, text the word win to the number 545454.
When you're on like this much of a heater, what is that feeling like? Like, man, we are just on a roll right now.
If you want the honest answer to that, I walk outside of my office and I try not to get struck by lightning. Right? I want to make sure we do everything the right way because, and look, I'm in this business, but I'm always overly transparent. It's hard to win. Okay, and it's hard to go on streaks where you win 7 straight or you go 8-1. It's hard, and that's why we play the way we do, with strategy, with making sure people don't bet a certain over a certain percentage of their bankroll. So it's hard to win. When we're on a roll like this, we're happy. We just want to keep it going, and I pretty much don't change anything that I'm doing until that streak ends.
Yeah, because I think what people don't realize is you're not just like, oh, I'll pick this team. Like, this is a full-on business for you that you make calculated decisions on every single game that you're giving out.
Absolutely, and the amount of hard work that we put in. Look, we have 17 full-time guys that are studying games each and every week. And again, just to be honest, you got to see the fight that broke out in my office about 3 hours ago with people disagreeing on games, but that's healthy. You want that. You want different opinions and different views of why someone sees a game a certain way. And right now there's a guy listening to this radio show that's worked all day, that hasn't had the opportunity to put the hard work in, look at the ball games, look at the matchups, forget college basketball. That's impossible for people. That's what we do. So, put us to the test. We've won 7 straight here on Thursday night. Text the word win to the number 54544. You get Denver, LA tonight, absolutely free.
All right, love it there. Going to this weekend, college football playoffs are happening. Big slate of games on Saturday. SMU and Penn State. Give us the breakdown on that game.
All right, so the last 9 weeks on this show, with 13-5, we give out 2 a week. 13-5 the last 9 weeks, so let's try to go 2-0 today. It'd be a nice, pre-Christmas weekend. I think SMU is going to have problems in this game. Now, I'm not sold on Penn State because James Franklin never wins a big game. We all know that. You guys know that. We don't need to be over it. But here's the issue that I see for SMU. If you remember a couple weeks ago, I came on and we gave out Clemson over SMU in the ACC title game. We said they were going to struggle up front, which they did. Now, they made a nice comeback. They got the game back tied, and Clemson made a play. We won the game. But they're going to have even a bigger problem with the offensive and defensive line of Penn State, and especially the defense of Penn State, which is a top 10 defense in the country. Furthermore, game time weather is supposed to be around 25 degrees. The coldest that SMU has played a football game in this year is 54 degrees kickoff. Okay, so basically 30 degrees colder than this team has ever played in the game. And I hate bringing up history in college football, but this, because these kids didn't play, this is a different team. However, this will be the 3rd coldest game SMU has ever played in. So you take a team that really hasn't beaten a good team this year. They lost to BYU. They lost to Clemson. In my opinion, they don't even deserve to be in this thing. You put them against a team that's only lost to Ohio State and Oregon, which you can't blame them for. You put them on the road in cold, and you put them against a top 10 defense. That has disaster written all over it. So we're going to go with Penn State. We're going to lay the points. It looks like 8.5 right now. I think Penn State gets the job done by 17. So Penn State minus the points.
See, that's the extensive research that you can only get right here from Chris Hodge at Taking Vegas, that, the weather reports as far as the games that SMU has played in all year long. No one else is giving you that. Only Chris Hodge right here on San Diego Sports 760. Moving to some NFL action this weekend, Chris. Pittsburgh, Baltimore divisional matchup on Saturday as well. I mean, the amount of football this weekend is ridiculous. It's like the couch is not going to be, you're not going to move off the couch at all this weekend. But Pittsburgh and Baltimore, what do you got in that one?
Yeah, I mean, the wives definitely not going to be happy this weekend because they're going to look to set up the house for Christmas.
Yep.
And you got a whole other issue going on.
Yep.
For this particular game, and I hate saying this because it's not verbiage I like to use, but I really believe they're giving money away. I cannot believe this total is as high as it is. 45 is insane. So let me give you some research on this game. The last 8 times these teams have played, the highest point total in any of those 8 games was 39 points. The average is 31 points. When they played the first time, the final score was 18-16. George Pickens in that game had 8 catches for 89 yards. He is not playing this week, so that is going to hurt the Steelers' offense. Furthermore, it is supposed to be windy in Baltimore on Saturday. It's supposed to be around 20 to 25 mile-per-hour winds on Saturday. So that's going to make it really hard to throw the ball. And ever since Pickens went down, Pittsburgh hasn't been able to throw the ball. This is going to be another hated rivalry, AFC North, grind it out, run type of game. And 45 to me, for this game to get over the total, I'm saying it right now, and it's the only way it gets there. Special teams touchdowns, defensive touchdowns. You can't predict those. Short of that, this game will not get over 33 points. That's what our metrics have told us. So I would bet that right now. 45, I feel like they're giving money away. It opened at 46. It already came down a point. I think it could go lower. So get on it quick, but I think that total is way too high.
Yeah, Pittsburgh and Baltimore are not known to have games that they score a lot of points in. Like, it is a lot of defensive battles all the time with those teams. Chris Hodge, Taking Vegas, joining us here on Jon and Jim. A couple more for you before we let you go and enjoy the holiday weekend here, Chris. But college hoops for you, still going strong. Nothing going on in college hoops now, but you did mention earlier on that you have a big game in the bowls tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I love this game tomorrow. Tulane and Florida. We'll lead right into the Indiana-Notre Dame game that everyone is interested in. But, these bowls are tricky. And I came on here a few weeks ago and I said, college basketball is tricky because all the portals, all the transfers, all this stuff going on. If you haven't done your research, you really don't know. Well, this stuff with the bowls, like if you look at tonight's game, for instance, if you just did a little bit of reading on it, you would have saw that all of Sam Houston, most of their players are in the transfer portal. What they don't tell you is most of those players are actually playing tonight. And Sam Houston is already up 7-0 in that game. So this is the stuff you really have to be aware of. I believe that if you just do nominal research, you're going to really have a hard time in the bowls. We love Tulane, Florida. By the way, that's what the argument was about earlier today. That's the truth. But we love the game. We're going to give it out tomorrow. We're going to win this game tonight. If you text the word win to the number 545454, give this game out tonight, win it, and then we're going to give out Tulane and Florida as well. And one last thing, I know I was on with Brent just earlier before. He personally thinks, and he said it was a movie about this, where Batman could kill Superman. I don't understand how that happens because one guy's human, one guy's an alien. So I would bet Superman, but that's just my opinion.
Kryptonite, bro.
Oh, man, but how does Batman get the kryptonite?
He's the smartest man on the planet. He's like the Tony Stark of the DC universe.
He lost to Bane. Bane beat him. He had to come back and beat him, but he lost the first fight to Bane.
But you can lose a fight and still win the war. I mean, it's what
Superman, man.
I agree.
They can jump into the sky and fly. Batman can't do that.
I know. I agree. Superman is kind of hard to take down. I understand that, especially if you're only human. But look, if you got kryptonite, kind of a fair fight a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So
I guess if you have it,
if you have it, and Batman will do anything to get it. Chris, thanks for joining us. Have a happy holidays. And we will catch up with you after the holidays. But until then, talk to you soon, man.
Yes, you too. Have a blessed holiday season. Everyone out there listening in San Diego, thank you. You guys have been great. I wish everyone Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Love it, man. Talk to you soon. There's Chris Hodge taking Vegas there on Jon and Jim. Yeah, dude is on a absolute heater right now. So again, if you want to find out the free play for the Denver Charger game tonight, just text win to 545454. He's won 7 straight, 8-1 over the last 9 weeks. So you're looking to make some money for the holidays, make the wife happy, reimburse all the presents that you bought. Just text win to 545454 to get the free pick of the Chargers and Broncos game tonight. All right, coming up next, we've waited long enough. Our Superman trailer review right here on Jon and Jim. July 11th. That's the date that the brand new Superman movie will be released. The start of the brand new DCU from James Gunn. They rebooted the whole entire thing. I loved Man of Steel.
Yeah,
I thought that movie was great. The director's cut of Batman v Superman was really good. The theatrical version of Batman v Superman was awful. The theatrical version of Justice League was utter garbage. Zack Snyder's version of Justice League was
good.
To me,
a little long, but it was good.
Oh, it was long. It was like 4 hours long. But to me, if I'm thinking about like superhero movies, that's like an all-timer for me. The theatrical Zack Snyder Justice League cut. I thought it was great. I loved it. I liked the first Aquaman movie. Did not like the second Aquaman movie. I didn't even watch it actually, but it just horrible reviews. So how could I not like it? I didn't watch it. Good point. I thought the Flash movie was good. It wasn't great. It was fine.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem.
But they were dealing with a lot of backlash, and they had to reboot basically the entire universe. And so it was what it was. I mean, Michael Keaton back as Batman was awesome, but they had to reboot the entire universe, and they're dealing with their star actor, in trouble with the law. So that movie flopped. But anyway, James Gunn has now taken the mantle of being in charge of the new DCU, the DC universe. And Superman is the first film in this new DCU. It's like the Iron Man of the DCU, the very first film that's going to launch potentially like 35 to 40 films, maybe more than that, like the next 10 years of cinema for the DC universe.
That'd be a lot of movies in 10 years.
Well,
considering it took Marvel 20 years to do 20 movies.
I mean, like 30 years, Brent, not 10, 30 years of like 40 movies. And the trailer dropped today for that movie. And I've watched it like 10 times already. I thought it was great. I didn't think it was like amazing. Like it didn't blow me away by any stretch. It definitely felt like a comic book movie. A lot of the complaints that Zack Snyder's version had, I feel like they kind of addressed it. Like the one thing that Zack Snyder Superman had that people complain about was like the tone and like too dark. This is the complete opposite. It is a lot of color. People didn't like that Superman maybe, and the other one was too gritty. Like this doesn't feel like you're going to get a gritty Superman. You're going to get a more hopeful Superman here. But the trailer, I mean, starts off with, him in probably near the Fortress of Solitude in the Arctic, and he's beaten up. He was just in a fight. And then within the first 30 seconds of the trailer, along comes Crypto the dog. And immediately I'm like, okay, I'm in. Crypto the dog is like not a deep cut, but it's still a part of Superman lore in the comics. And it's like a super powered dog.
Yeah.
And his name is Crypto. And I just thought, the only things that were said in the trailer was take me home. Crypto, take me home. And that was it. And a lot of shots of the movie. This is a movie in a world, in a universe where superheroes and villains already exist. It's not like
there's no origin story.
There's no origin story. It's just like, boom, Superman already exists in this universe, and they're just taking it from there. So I thought it was really good. If I had to grade it, I'd give it an 8.9 out of 10.
There's lots of stuff. I like that for a change, Clark Kent has, he looks different than Superman.
Looks completely different.
He has a different hairstyle opposed to just glasses, no glasses. So I kind of like that, to where it's like they never really, address that. It's just, oh yeah, he's gonna have the same hairstyle as Superman, and Clark Kent is just, glasses and no glasses. So I like that they kind of addressed that. And for a trailer with no dialogue, I'm kind of interested to see what the like actual, because that'll be the
this
is a teaser trailer, so the next one will be the quote official trailer,
right?
To where we'll see some more plot points so we can see actually what the hell this movie is going to be about. But I have hopeful optimism about it.
Yeah, I'll 1000% see it on opening weekend. I'm excited for it. I'm not like over the moon for it because we're not that far removed from Henry Cavill's Superman. Like, we're not 15 years out from Henry Cavill. You still watch Man of Steel today. It holds up with movies that are being made today. And that was made 12 years ago. Like, Henry Cavill was just in Black Adam, 2 years ago? A year and a half ago? So this is not like, man, we haven't gotten a Superman movie in a long time. No, we've gotten a Superman movie within the last decade. We've gotten multiple movies with Superman in it. So I don't think it's going to hit $1 billion, Brent. I do think people are still confused. Like, wait, didn't they already have a Superman movie? And they're going to have to get over the fact that this is not that Superman. This is completely different. This is a reboot of the entire DC franchise.
They'll figure it out just the same way when they rebooted Batman for the 5th time. They figured it out. They'll figure it out. I do think some of the complaints that you see online of even in YouTube chat, people are complaining that they didn't use the John Williams Superman theme. They haven't used the John Williams Superman theme since Superman Returns all the way back in 2006.
So that movie was awful, by the way.
It was okay. I didn't mind it.
He didn't fight anybody. He literally watched the movie. He didn't fight one single person in a 2-hour plus long movie. He only fought a plane from crashing. I digress.
Who did he fight in the original Christopher Reeve Superman?
That's not what I'm talking about, Brent. I'm talking about the 06.
Nobody. That's my point.
Well,
all he did was lift a helicopter and flew really fast, so the world went back in reverse and did time. But yeah, he didn't actually fight anybody.
Well,
in the first Superman
when he fought Zod, that was much better.
Yes, that was the second one.
Yes. Anyway, so I'm excited for it. I think it was. I mean, it's breaking records online right now. I mean, it's already at 15 million views on YouTube, and that's not counting all the views that it's got on Twitter and X or other social media platforms, reaction videos. Like right now, James Gunn's tweet on X right now has, I reposted it. It has, that's not it.
Well, you find it. My big thing is
it has 13 million views on X right now. And that's not counting all the views that it has on YouTube. So this thing is reaching 50 million views, potentially, maybe more than that. And it's not even hit 24 hours yet. Not even close. That's a big time number.
I'm just hoping that Gunn doesn't cave to studio pressure.
I don't think he will.
To where, they screwed this up the first time because they didn't take their time with it. They did one movie and then all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, we're just going to rush this out and introduce 30 characters in, one movie and then just rush it. Marvel took their time with it and that's why it worked. If they would have rushed it, it wouldn't have worked the way it did.
Here's why I trust James Gunn. Just look at his track record. Every single Guardians movie was great. The Suicide Squad movie he did was great.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's way better than the first one.
That's not saying much.
And I look at the track record with those movies and say, all right, you taking an unknown, thing in Guardians of the Galaxy and turn it into one of the most beloved groups in the MCU. That's hard to do for a complete unknown property.
Oh, Gunn's going to go deep with some of the people, Guy Gardner and his bowl cut straight out of the comics.
Straight out of the comics. People are wondering why is that Green Lantern? That's not Green Lantern.
That's not Hal Jordan. It's Green Lantern Corps. But yeah, that's, his awful bowl cut was right out of the comics. And so there's some things that when you look at it, just offhand, you're going to be like, what? But if you actually do some research, oh, okay, that's actually what that guy looked like in the comics. So
I think Superman's going to be a good movie. I trust James Gunn to do it. The big question will be when they make the Batman movie, how that is, because you have now had the Dark Knight trilogy. You have now had the Batman with Robert Pattinson, and those have been great. And you now need to make a Batman in a universe with Superman. and you failed the first time. Well, you didn't, but DC did with Ben Affleck. I thought Ben Affleck was a great Batman, but the Batman v Superman was not good unless you watch the director's cut. How are they going to do with Batman? If they nail Batman along with Superman, they're good.
If anything, that's what's going to confuse people because there's going to be two
Where's
separate.
Robert Pattinson?
Well, because that's going to its own separate thing. It's not included in this, so people will have two Batmans, and that's going to confuse them.
That will. But if they, and by they I mean James Gunn, if he nails the Superman movie coming up in July here, and he nails whoever the Batman is in the same universe as this Superman, he will be set for the next 25, 30 years. Like, they have to nail those two characters in the same universe together. All right, there's our nerd talk of the day. That felt good to get it out of our system. All right, coming up next, we'll preview Thursday Night Football, Broncos and Chargers, and we get to the wrap coming up next on Jon and Jim. All right, this update is brought to you by Lexus Carlsbad. Experience auto enjoyment. Thursday night football, moments away from kickoff in LA. Chargers and Broncos. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Now through December 29th, get big savings at Lexus Carlsbad during the December to Remember sales event. On select new Lexus models, get 2.49% APR financing, limited terms on approved premium credit only. Details at LexusCarlsbad.com or visit Lexus Carlsbad today.
Getting you all set for that drive home. Let's just start the show. Here's Jon and Jim.
All right, final stop here on Jon and Jim before we send you off to Thursday night football, Chargers and Broncos. Reports are coming out right now, Brent, that Jerickson Profar is reportedly looking for a deal in the 3-year plus range at around $45 million. Yeah, he ain't coming back. And that's $15 million a year. He ain't coming back. Kevin Acey said repeatedly, they want Jerickson back. If it's $15 million a year, could the Padres do it? Yeah, absolutely. But for $15 a year, I don't know if they're going to want to go that high. If they like traded away Dylan Cease and Luis Ariz, and you can bring back Jerickson Profar, but is that really worth it? Is it really worth it to trade away your top pitcher and your batting champ just so you could re-sign Jerickson Profar to a 3-year, $45 million deal? Nah, it's not worth it. I love me some Jerickson Profar. I would love if he's back on this team. It ain't worth it.
Yeah, you got to know when to walk away.
That ain't worth it, especially if it costs you 2 guys. Like, you're not trading away Dylan Cease or Luis Ariz to get better. You'd be trading away those guys to make room for Jerickson Profar. Love me some Profar. Hope they re-sign him. Not for that. No. It's just not going to happen. So I look at it as this. If Jerickson Profar wants a 3-year, $45 million deal, then probably goodbye. I hope that it doesn't have. I hope that he comes back, but like they have to be smart here. And Jerickson Profar just had his best season in his entire career. The likelihood of him repeating that is not that high. So being smart with this is something that AJ Preller is going to have to be here. And if Profar goes somewhere else, you're going to have to be okay with that because likely it's going to cost the other team $45 to $50 million. If that is what Jerickson Profar ends up getting. Now, I thought Profar was going to go to like the Yankees after the Juan Soto thing happened with Juan Soto going to the Mets because the Yankees can now go get a bunch of, they can go get like Christian Walker. They could go get this guy and they went and got Max Fried. They can go get Profar. They got Cody Bellinger. They traded for him. Like they could just load up on a bunch of talent. But that didn't happen. And instead they got Cody Bellinger. And now looks like Profar is not going to New York. Instead, he's going to go, I don't know where. Like, if the Dodgers don't re-sign Teoscar Hernandez, could he be an option with the Dodgers? That would kind of scare me a little bit because the Dodgers know what they're doing. Like, they aren't going to have very many bad deals that they make. They're not, rarely do they make a bad deal that you're like, ugh, that's not great. They're very savvy. And if they think that Jerickson Profar like found something and they ended up picking him up, I'd be a little scared because, of course, you know what's going to happen then. He's going to torch the Padres at every chance possible. So if Profar is looking for 3 for 45, you had a great season here, man. Like you had a great season here. And you got the most out of him that you possibly could get. A 1-year, $1 million deal, and he became an all-star. Starting all-star, by the way. One of the best left fielders in the National League, if not the best. At that point in time, you kind of have to say, like, look, we got all we could get out of him. Jerickson Profar is a perfect fit here in San Diego. The grit that he brings to the team, what he brings to the clubhouse that was desperately needed last year after the disaster of 2023. But at what cost?
You know what's going to happen? It's going to be just like, now I'm having a brain fart. The dude that wanted to fight all the fans.
Tommy Pham.
Yeah. He'll go, Jerickson will go sign someplace else. And then for 6 months, we'll hear, they should trade for Jerickson Profar.
You look at the last couple seasons for Profar, and he's a perfect fit here. He's had his best years here in San Diego. So if you're Profar, do you want to go get the most money, or do you want to try to return here to San Diego where you've had your best seasons and you know that the fit here is perfect for you, but maybe you aren't going to make that much money? Personally, if I were him, it's a business and you got to go out and make the most money you possibly can. He's not coming back to San Diego for a discount.
Especially, he's not old, but, he's not going to get another, like,
no,
I don't want to say big, but this is going to be the biggest
Yeah.
money-making opportunity that he has in his whole career.
And if it's 3 years, $45 million, then it's 3 years, $45 million. But that, you're right, it's the biggest contract that he'll get for the rest of his career. Unless he has like 3 straight all-star seasons. But even then, he'll be an older player. And you're just not going to get a bigger deal at 4 years old instead of 31. So it looks like we now know what Jerickson Profar wants, and it's 3 years, $45 million. Like, that seems kind of like the baseline. I don't anybody else giving him something lower than that, or him accepting anything lower than that. So we'll talk more about that tomorrow on the show. Great Friday show lineup for you. So with tons of giveaways. Cynthia Freeland will be joining us as well, and we'll talk about all the Padres moves that are made. Oh, wait, just kidding. And up next, Thursday Night Football, Chargers and Broncos. Stay right here.